Live from Vermont's own WCAX, the Channel 3 News starts with a first alert weather day.
Non-stop snow across the state today, dropping several inches onto our region. Started this morning, continued throughout the day, and then right into tonight's commute. It's meant drivers on major thoroughfares like Interstate 89, like we saw this morning, have had to take it easy. Thanks for joining us at 6. I'm Kat Villianzoni.
And I'm Darren Perrin. We've got live team coverage on this first alert weather day. Gunner Console tracking road conditions in Street View 3. Lucy Kale is live in Williston with safe driving tips from transportation officials. And Connor Ullathorne is live for us in southern Vermont. That's become somewhat of a winter wonderland down there.
We're going to start with Gunner live in Street View. Gunner, you've been headed south. How's it looking out there?
Well, yeah, so Darren and Kat, we have actually flipped around and now we're heading back north. And instead of traveling along Route 7, now we're on Vermont Route 116. And road conditions are very intermittent. At times, they're comfortable, they're safe, they're mostly just wet, melted snow. Then as you'll see here, they have quickly transitioned back to snow-covered roads. A lot of this snow that's falling right now isn't these heavy dendrites, but they're actually this like fine pixie dust powder kind of snow. So the roads are getting coated in this light, dry snow, and that's going to lead to very drastic road conditions. You will very easily go from somewhat okay traction with winter tires to potentially slippery conditions even if you have winter tires, if a lot of those wet spots do refreeze throughout the overnight. That's going to be one of those main concerns, especially with those temperatures dropping tonight. But if the snow transitioning from that fluffy wet snow to dry powdery snow is any indication, we have dry air moving in, we have cold air moving in, and that means that a refreeze is possible. We're heading north. We're going to check out 89, see if there's any travel woes there. But I'll toss things back to you, Darren and Kat.
Gunner, thank you. Tell Vic to drive safely. All that snow has kept V-Trans very busy today and into tonight. Channel 3's Lucy Kale joins us live now in Williston after talking to transportation officials. Lucy, are they keeping up?
Yeah, Darren and Kat, V-Trans says the day's been pretty good and the snow's been falling at a rate that they've been able to keep up with. It hasn't been too much. They were really eyeing that rush hour, that commute time, to just see how that went. And from what we've seen along the interstate in Williston, it wasn't looking too bad throughout that whole commute time home. V-Trans recommends, as you're hitting the roads tonight, to just be aware that there will still be snow, as Vermont doesn't have a bare roads policy, and be aware of other drivers around you. Some people might not be as experienced with driving in the snow as you might be.
So just be patient with everybody. Be patient with our crews. They're out there. They travel at a slower rate of speed, but that's so that they can get the snow taken off safely and gives the material a time to work.
Yeah, another tip is make sure with your commute, you're planning it and you're not waiting too long to where you're rushing out the door and you're hitting the roads too fast. Make sure to drive carefully. And the roads look pretty smooth out here right now, but of course, we'll keep you updated online and at our show tonight at 11. But I'll toss it back to you for now, Kat and Darren.
Lucy Kale, thank you. We've got Chief Meteorologist Jess Langlois with us too.
And Jess, you're tracking the totals tonight. Where are we seeing the most snow? I heard it was southern Vermont, but other spots that are kind of hitting the jackpot, if you will.
Yeah, Arlington's been consistently one of our big performers today. So in Bennington County there, update from Pollitt as well, 8 inches so far. West Wardsboro, 7 inches. So not surprising that our biggest totals so far have been from southern Vermont. That's exactly what we were expecting. Claremont also seeing a half a foot there. So some upper valley locations, Sullivan County, New Hampshire, seeing a good dose of snow. Smuggler's Notch reporting 6 inches. Tunbridge 5.5, 5.5 for Woodford. Waitsfield seeing some impressive totals as well. And even though totals taper downward from there, we still have seen impacts to roads because it has been so cold out today. Whatever has been falling has really been sticking and causing slick spots since this morning. So we still have that first alert weather day through this evening. That snow tapering off though from northwest to south southeast through the next few hours. Still be aware of some slick travel tonight. There's slick and snow-covered roads from falling snow, but also the chance for some refreezing, those wet roads becoming slick again because of those falling temperatures overnight tonight. So here's a look at radar right now. Still seeing some snow falling out there this evening, especially across central southern areas. Southeastern Vermont will be the last place to see that snow tapering off in the hours before midnight tonight. And look at these temperatures. Already cold now, but heading into those upper teens to low 20s for lows overnight tonight. That again is going to promote anything that is wet, slushy, refreezing overnight. So continue to use caution even into tomorrow morning if you encounter some untreated roads or surfaces. Good news though is despite more clouds than sun through a lot of the day tomorrow, we'll see a dry day, temperatures warming up into those upper 20s, low 30s by afternoon. Tomorrow's our quiet day though. We're watching the potential for some snow squalls followed by an Arctic blast later this week. More on that in your full forecast.
Jess, thank you. And as you mentioned, southern Vermont seeing the most snow today. We're heading down to the Manchester area now where Connor Olathorn is. And Connor, looks like a Hallmark movie down there.
Yeah, sure thing, Kat. That's exactly what we were talking about the past few hours, that this scene behind me in Manchester Center looking exactly like it's out on the stage of a Hallmark movie. Now, again, I'll step out of the way here. You can see some of the snow behind me, very, very powdery. That's what's been falling all day throughout Manchester Center, but the roads now also getting a bit slick. They've been covered. Now they're turning to where you need to watch out where you're driving throughout the rest of the night. Southern Vermont has seen several inches of snowfall throughout today. It's been steady for a few hours as crews and residents look to start shoveling their homes and businesses and cars. The snow has felt light and isn't too wet, which could make things just a bit easier for both you and crews if you're looking to dig out tonight. Ernie Roberts in Manchester is one of those. He told us he's been clearing businesses, steps, and sidewalks in this area for 2 decades, and that this year is no different.
It's been nice. We didn't start till this afternoon because it was light this morning, so we'll do this for this afternoon, and then we'll do it again tomorrow morning. Last year it was around Thanksgiving, so same time this year, really. We had a little snow on Thanksgiving, and expect to hopefully have a lot more.
There'll be plenty to dig out across the southern part of the state both tonight and tomorrow. Again, snow still falling very steadily here in Manchester Center, but just again, be wary out on the roads tonight. Things looking very, very slick throughout southern Vermont. For now, live in Manchester, Connor Olathorn, Channel 3 News.
Connor, thank you. Well, with all this snow, hundreds of schools closed.
Adam Sullivan shows us how kids got a snow day.
It is 7 a.m. here in Orford, New Hampshire. School is already canceled for one of the kiddos. As you can see, there's a fresh layer of snow on the windshield, which is going to make the morning commute slick, and the snow is expected all day.
The daily commute to the Upper Valley Bureau was fairly smooth. There were not a lot of cars on the roads, and drivers were taking it slow.
By 11 a.m. here at the offices, there was already enough snow for the plows to be moving in front of the parking lot.
My goal was to find some good sledding. Windsor was the destination. The conditions on the roads were getting worse. On the way, I spotted Glenn Lines, who was making an early pass with his snowblower.
Maybe 2 today, but the most. Other than that, hopefully I don't have to at all, but nevertheless.
Such is life in Vermont, huh?
Yeah, pretty much.
Made my way to the country club here in Windsor. I was told it's a pretty good sledding spot, but no kids out on the hill yet.
I did, however, run into Susanna Marshall and her son Milo on Main Street.
We were walking to the grocery store to get some groceries. We live pretty close and we want to avoid driving.
Today I'm playing with my friends in the snow at my house.
Of course, not everyone wants to be outside in the snow, and that includes a couple pretty good basketball players here at the Windsor Rec Center.
These 5th graders were putting in the work.
Oh, now you guys...
I made the mistake of challenging them to a quick game. I never had a chance.
All right, it's over. And you could be playing video games right now. Why are you playing basketball instead?
Because I like basketball.
By early afternoon, I found what I was looking for. Several kids playing in the snow.
And what are you making?
I'm just helping with the portrait.
You're making a fort? Cool.
Portrait.
And what are you making?
wall.
Our children spend a very large number of hours outside every day, and they've been desperately waiting for snow.
And by late afternoon Tuesday, several inches had fallen here in the Upper Valley. Not a huge amount, but still significant and just enough for the first big snow day of the year. Reporting from outside our Upper Valley Bureau, Adam Sullivan, Channel 3 News.
Adam's a big kid himself. Well, thank you very much, and stay with Channel 3 on the air, on the web, and on our free mobile app as we continue to bring you updates about the winter weather. Well, we have some breaking news tonight. The Justice Department suing Vermont after the Secretary of State refuses to provide voter registration rolls to the feds. They want information like names, addresses, driver's licenses, and more. The feds say not sharing it is in open defiance of federal civil rights laws. Vermont Secretary of State Sarah Copeland-Hansis previously said she has no plans to share that data.
A push to stem the rising tide of homelessness by keeping more Vermonters from losing the homes that they already have.
A new report to state lawmakers recommends expanding a program that provides a lawyer to people facing eviction.
As Calvin Cutler reports, a pilot program helped dozens of people stay in their homes.
Chris Jacobs moved into this home 30 years ago under a verbal agreement with the property owner that he could live there in perpetuity.
On a handshake with the landlord, he's like, just remember, if you don't have a roof over your head, the other bills don't matter.
Not long after, Jacobs was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis and requires constant in-home care.
The most important thing is the proximity to my caregivers.
But the landlord who made that agreement has since died. His family took over the property and are now selling. And they say Jacobs has to go. Law enforcement served him with no-cause eviction papers shortly before we talked to him on Tuesday.
But yeah, millions of pages, lots of signatures.
Under a pilot program in Lamoille and Windsor counties, tenants like Jacobs who are facing eviction are offered free legal representation so they can exercise all of their rights under the law.
There is not affordable housing available, so when tenants are evicted, they really can't replace the housing.
Vermont Legal Aid says the pilot program is working at preventing evictions and that state lawmakers should expand it statewide. Vermont Legal Aid tells me that they reached out to 206 Vermonters who were facing eviction. 94 Vermonters responded and 72 of those cases were closed. That means that 46% of Vermonters who were part of this program avoided being locked out. But others, like former state representative and property manager Heidi Sherman, says if the goal is to keep a roof over people's heads, lawmakers should assist with tenants' underlying financial struggles that may lead to them to miss rent payments.
The resources can be used to help good tenants when they are struggling, when they have an unexpected expense that precludes them from paying rent, and then evictions wouldn't start to happen.
Back in Colchester, Jacobs may not have a case to keep his current housing, but he is working with Vermont Legal Aid to chart a path forward, potentially in a nursing home. He stresses how fragile a living situation can be and how quick life can be turned upside down.
You have to have a bulletproof, impregnable foundation built so that nobody can knock one of the bases out from the foundation and make your house fall down,
A struggle to support tenants and landlords as housing remains a hot debate in the Green Mountains. Reporting in Colchester, Calvin Cutler, Channel 3 News.
Calvin, thank you. Home heating help on the way. Still ahead, why it was held up and what to do if you need assistance.
And giving anglers better odds.
A new effort from the state that could improve your chances of catching some trout this winter. I'm Channel 3's Claire Jones, and we'll hear about this pilot program coming up in Wildlife Watch.
Plus, law enforcement lookalikes tracking down fugitives who flee. We investigate bounty hunters and a lack of regulation over wrongful house raids and rogue roundups.
And we're continuing to monitor the conditions on the roads tonight with several inches of new snow statewide. We'll be back right after this.
Over 125.
And welcome back, everyone. With several inches of snow blanketing our region, we are tracking the travel trouble for you tonight.
Meteorologist Gunnar Consols in Street View 3 in the Heinsberg area on this first alert weather day. Gunnar, you said so far the roads are, maybe a little slick, but they're still doing okay as far as driving?
Yeah, that's absolutely right. So roads have been safe, and like Jess and I were talking about yesterday, central and northern Vermont, we're only expecting to see low to moderate impacts to travel. So this is almost exactly what I was expecting these roads to look like. You know, they're pretty safe. You can get where you need to go if you're driving 30 miles per hour. But these roads would be easily a lot more dangerous if you were traveling the speed limit. So it's good that we've also been noticing a lot of people driving and taking it slow. We're driving in the conditions that we have, and people are driving smart, and I'm surprised and happy to see that we actually haven't seen many spin-offs or slide-offs. So people are driving safe, but yes, the roads, they do keep flipping from wet, melted snow to slushy, powdery snow. Right now we're on a section of 116 where it's a little bit more slushy, but we're going to continue to monitor these conditions, especially through the overnight, where some of those wet spots, the roads that are covered in snow now, likely not going to be slick, but those roads that are wet now will likely refreeze tonight. That's possible, but I'll toss to Jess to talk a little bit more about that forecast.
Well, thanks, Gunnar. Definitely on the tail end of this system now. Most of us not seeing much in the way of additional snow accumulation. Generally just a trace to an inch left through this evening. Anyone who sees more than that, going to be really that southern section of I-91 there through Windsor, Windham County through the next few hours. But thankfully this system is wrapping up. The biggest thing that we've been talking about continues just to be any slick snow-covered roads remaining slick through the rest of this evening, because we're looking at those temperatures falling through the 20s over the next few hours. That's definitely conducive to wet areas starting to refreeze, slush becoming a little bit slick as well. But that snow does wrap up tonight. By tomorrow morning, we're seeing temperatures in the upper teens to low 20s, so another brisk start to the day tomorrow. But we're heading into a quieter day overall for our Wednesday. So here's how that snow wraps up. We're already starting to see snow tapering off. By about 7 o'clock, most of the snow will be focused south and east, some snow showers elsewhere. Southern Vermont holds on to the snow showers for the longest over the next few hours, but by about midnight, most of that snow shower activity should be tapering off for good. Eventually, we start to see some breaks in the clouds for our early Wednesday morning, so we'll have a mix of clouds and sunshine to start the day. The valleys have the best chance to see some sun early. On and off clouds, sunshine into tomorrow afternoon, a dry, quiet Wednesday for us, and that's ahead of our next chance for some snow on Thursday. Highs tomorrow afternoon, we're talking about upper 20s, low 30s, variable cloud cover. But here's what we're tracking early Thursday morning. Jumping ahead here, this is 1 a.m. Thursday. This is a snapshot of Futurecast here, because this is when that potent cold front starts to get close to our area. In fact, ahead of that, we see this push of snow showers. We're not talking about widespread all-day snow like we had today, but we're talking about the potential for some snow squalls. That means there could be a brief period of heavy snow during the morning commute that could reduce visibility and cause some travel issues, drop a quick dusting to an inch or two of snow. Few snow showers out there into Thursday afternoon, evening. They're not widespread, but they are out there. Once we clear out behind that, those temperatures really tank, because while we're having a quiet afternoon tomorrow, there is this massive pool of cold air that's descending out of the upper Midwest, the northern plains, and that's going to be headed our way, and that is going to be that Arctic blast that we see into Friday. In fact, Thursday we'll see quieter conditions through the day, and by Thursday night, Friday morning, that's when we really see those temperatures tanking either side of zero by early Friday. So we'll start warmer early in the day on Thursday. Temperatures fall through the day there. By Friday afternoon, not very warm either. Highs only in the teens to low 20s for most of us. So what that translates to, mostly cloudy tomorrow, highs upper 20s, low 30s. Thursday, you'll want to pay attention to conditions heading out the door in the morning. Some of us might run into some snow squalls or some bursts of snow showers through the afternoon into parts of central and southern Vermont. Those highs happen early in the day. Those temperatures fall. We're talking about temperatures either side of zero to start the day on Friday morning. Highs only in the upper teens, low 20s there. We do get a bit of a break Saturday, Sunday. Chance for a few flurries late Saturday, but notice how those cold temperatures come back early next week. Single digit lows, teens and low 20s for highs again.
Jess, thank you. Still ahead, an update on the Winooski second grader detained by ICE.
Plus, an update on the investigation into the Washington, D.C. shooting of 2 National Guard members. The latest and what Vermont's governor said today about the Trump administration's response after this.
The region.
Immigration policy in the news and having a local impact. A Winooski woman and her 7-year-old child detained over the holiday weekend by immigration authorities.
The mother and second grader have only lived in Winooski for about 2 months and now may be facing deportation. Our Abigail Sachs spoke with the Winooski superintendent, who is leading an effort to win the child's release.
After a holiday week, students return back to school at JFK Elementary, except for one.
But our goal is to put our student back in the classroom.
Winooski Superintendent Wilmer Chavaria says the school took note when one of their second graders didn't come back from Thanksgiving break. A call home to the student's father revealed that the 7-year-old and his mother were detained by Immigration and Customs Enforcement agents and are currently being held in an ICE detention center in Texas.
If we cannot imagine a child and think how wrong it is for that child to be held in detention, then we failed as adults.
The family is seeking asylum in the U.S. and had already begun the process. They were visiting family in the Midwest for Thanksgiving when they were detained. The mother and child do have a court date scheduled for early in January, but as of right now, they will be staying in that Texas detention facility until then. The superintendent tells me that it's their primary goal to get that student back here until the court date, so at least they can go to school while they wait.
Being in a detention center is less than ideal. I don't think any child, any second grader should be held in detention, basically in jail for weeks.
Chavaria, a U.S. citizen, was also detained and held for hours just a few months ago. He says he worries for the families that may not know their personal rights like he did.
It's just not right.
Eric Paquette, a Winooski native, says he was saddened by the news and worries for the child's mental health.
People need to recognize this is going to create really trauma for the child to overcome, and then to trust people. He's going to really need everybody's support.
He says he's proud of how the community is trying to help.
But I expect that out of Winooski. I expect that out of Vermont.
We've reached out to the Department of Homeland Security for more information, but have not heard back. Reporting in Winooski, Abigail Sachs, Channel 3 News.
Abby, thank you. In the past, immigrants in asylum process were shielded from deportation, but the Trump administration has tightened the rules around asylum, including further restrictions in the wake of the shooting of 2 National Guard soldiers last week.
And on that front, not guilty pleas today for the man accused of shooting those 2 National Guard members near the White House. 29-year-old Ramanella Lakanwal, an Afghan man who entered the U.S. in 2021 and was granted asylum in April, pleaded not guilty to first-degree murder and assault charges from his hospital bed. Still no motive for last week's ambush-style attack, which killed 20-year-old specialist Sarah Beckstrom. 24-year-old Sergeant Andrew Wolf was critically injured. The incident has led the Trump administration to pause all visa and immigration processing for Afghan nationals. Vermont has previously welcomed dozens of Afghan refugees, and Governor Phil Scott says we should continue to do so. He says there's no excuse for what happened, but that, quote, it's also not fair to cast blame on an entire group of people who are doing the best they can to integrate into our communities and follow the American dream. But the governor adds that it's also reasonable and prudent for the federal government to investigate to be sure that there are no additional security concerns or vulnerabilities in our systems. The Trump administration will withhold SNAP benefits in most Democratic-controlled states starting next week. Agriculture Secretary Brooke Rollins says it's because those states are refusing to provide information that the department requested on recipients, including names and immigration status. Despite Vermont not giving up other kinds of data to the feds, like its voter rolls, the governor did provide SNAP data, so we here in Vermont should avoid any issues. Democratic states have sued to block the requirement.
New train service arrived in Vermont on this day in history. The first run of the Ethan Allen Express arrived at the station in Rutland on December 2nd, 1996. This was Vermont's second Amtrak route, and it brought passenger service to the Rutland area for the first time in 43 years.
Your local news continues here at 6, and coming up, we're remembering a Vermont music icon who recently passed away.
And expanded access to fishing for Vermont anglers this winter. How wildlife officials are hoping you can get out and catch a good time. Next in Wildlife Watch.
In your words, what is a...
Well, we know winter doesn't stop Vermonters from getting outside, and this year there's a new study to boost interest in a popular pastime.
Claire Jones takes us down to Rutland County to learn about it in this Wildlife Watch.
East Creek, bubbling through Rutland County, is a bit more packed than usual for this time of year.
Specifically on East Creek, we've done a brand new fall stocking.
It's one of 9 stocked trophy trout rivers across the state. That means each spring, 2-year-old trout raised in hatcheries are released into the water for anglers to catch and harvest over the season. Before 2022, mid-April through the end of October was the only time you could fish for trout in many Vermont waterways. But the rules changed. Now you can grab your real and artificial lures and fish all fall and winter long in rivers and streams, catch and release only.
The anglers, when they're coming out to target these fish, they know that they're not going to be bringing home a creel, but they are able to get out in the winter if they start getting a little stir crazy.
This year, to supplement supply, Fish and Wildlife crews have decided to try something new. They took about 160 of the 1,250 rainbow trout that would have been released this coming spring and released them into East Creek in October. The rest will be released in spring as usual.
We're taking a look at, if we put these fish out here now, are people going to use it? And what does that tell us?
Opening up opportunities for anglers to get outside and get a bite all winter long, something that seems to be sparking excitement.
The feedback has been great. People have been excited for this opportunity for like a late season harvest and then catch and release opportunities.
Fish and Wildlife staff will continue their surveys on this program throughout the season, and depending on the results, will then determine if this is a program they want to continue for years to come. For this Wildlife Watch in Rutland, Claire Jones, Channel 3 News.
Claire, thank you. If you're headed out to East Creek to fish this off-season, you can help with the study. Here's how. If you catch a trout with a tag near its dorsal fin, like the one you see there on your screen, we'll take note of its color and 4-digit number on the tag. You can then go online and report the tag, color, and number and where you caught the fish. We'll have a link and all the information on our website, WCAX.com.
The capital city's interim manager is stepping down, so city leaders are now searching for a replacement. Kelly Murphy has served with Montpelier in various roles over 5 years. On Sunday, she announced her resignation. She's taking a job with the education agency. Montpelier's mayor says the city council is now entering the final round of interviews with 3 candidates, but there will likely be a gap where there is not a city manager in local government.
The hope is we feel pretty good that we're on track. We're maybe a little bit ahead of where we thought we might be when we started out the process. We knew that there would be kind of the budget and the hiring happening around the same time.
The city council will have to sign off on the final hire. The mayor says there will be a public hearing for you to ask questions of the new city manager. The turnover comes as budget season begins. And Windsor has a new representative in the State House. Today, Governor Scott appointed Democrat Michael Hoyt of West Hartford to fill the vacant Windsor 4 seat. He's worked as an attorney for the legislature and the Department of Labor, and he currently works at Dartmouth College. He's also vice chair of the Hartford Select Board. He replaces Heather Supernaut, who resigned this fall.
Well, after about a month delay, millions of dollars for home heating assistance is coming to Vermont. The money for the Low-Income Home Energy Assistance Program, or LIHEAP, was held up because of the government shutdown, but it was just released by the Trump administration. Vermont will get more than $20 million, which you can apply for right now. If you need fuel right away, there are also resources available. All the information you need is on this story on our website, WCAX.com. And applications are also open for home heating assistance in New York. That means eligible New Yorkers who need help paying their fuel bills can now apply for funding. The program offers up to $1,000 per household.
Legendary local singer and songwriter Jon Gailmor has died.
For the love of Vermont, for the warmth of her hand, for the freedom she shared.
For decades, children in Vermont learned and sang with Gailmor in classrooms all over the state. The Philadelphia native fell in love with Vermont and moved to the state in the early 70s. In a 2022 WCAX interview, he told us that during COVID, he missed the human interaction with kids. Gailmor was also a longtime Elmore town moderator. The performer died in New Orleans, surrounded by his family after battling leukemia for close to 2 years. No word yet on funeral arrangements.
Next, an update on the construction of Burlington High School, where we're at with the timeline and the budget.
And what proposed school consolidation could mean for kids in the kingdom.
Say yes to...
Well, snow winding down out there for this first alert weather day, but plenty of cleaning up still to do. And Jess, sounds like people shouldn't wait too long to get that done because the cold is coming.
It is. You know, we have a cold night ahead tonight that's going to cause some refreezing, but then even colder temperatures behind that later this week. So for the rest of this first alert weather day, the snow is tapering off. You just want to continue to use caution out there this evening. We do have the chance for some black ice, some refreezing through tomorrow morning. Mostly what we're looking at out there now is sub-freezing pavement temperatures in the 20s. We're seeing that area-wide. That is still causing some ongoing slick roads throughout the Northeast Kingdom and into central and southern Vermont as well. So we still have some snow falling there this evening. And then this is what we're dealing with across the Upper Valley and southern Vermont right now. Notice how the road's still completely snow covered there in Hartford. So that's what we're dealing with for the rest of tonight. Tomorrow, though, a quieter day before we see our next big burst of winter weather. So the next day I want to turn your attention to is Thursday. That's when we have that Arctic cold front coming through. We start out with a chance for some snow squalls early in the morning. And note how that high of 31, that actually occurs very early in the day. Those temperatures will be falling rapidly through the afternoon, feeling brutal with some sub-zero wind chills by Thursday evening. And then here's that Arctic blast Friday. We're talking about temperatures even the single digits either side of zero to start out the morning, highs only in the teens and low 20s into the afternoon. Now for your Saturday and Sunday, we're looking at quieter, more seasonable conditions with highs in those low 30s, then eventually a little bit cooler by Sunday. Then another push of cold air coming in for early next week. So the main takeaway, winter is here. We're talking about snow now, and then of course, chance for some travel impacts early Thursday, Arctic blast behind it, cold again early next week.
Jess, thank you. The Orleans Central Supervisory Union wants to put elementary and middle schoolers in one building. It'd be built on the Lake Region Union High School campus. District officials estimate consolidating could save up to $300 million. During the transition, though, the supervisory union's annual budget would rise by $6 million. The superintendent argues it'd be worth it for the long-term savings.
Right now, the community really is facing this issue of continuing to invest in these older buildings, right? These older facilities that need millions and millions of dollars of work.
The supervisory union is still assessing how much that project would cost taxpayers. They say class sizes would stay just about the same. There wouldn't be large staff reductions. Still, some students would have to ride the bus for about an hour. District officials estimate that project could take up to 5 years.
And Burlington High School will finish construction $6 million under budget. Voters approved borrowing $165 million, but the project only needs $159 million. Construction on that expected to wrap up next spring. And a warning for Burlington area residents, especially those of you with pets. Tomorrow night, a private fireworks display is set to go off at the Burlington waterfront. The Burlington Fire Marshal's office says it's set to start around 8:45 for the Associated General Contractors of Vermont's annual meeting. So heads up for all the dog owners out there who like heads up.
And maybe get a free show out of the deal.
Yeah.
Coming up, dangerous rogue roundups from wrong house raids.
We investigate a lack of consistent regulation for bounty hunters next. Across America, they're tasked with finding fugitives who skipped out on court while out on bond. Commonly referred to as bounty hunters, these law enforcement lookalikes oftentimes carry badges and guns.
But our national investigative team uncovered these individuals often lack training, and patchy regulations can lead to rogue roundups all across the country. Here's national investigative reporter Chris Nakamoto.
I guess the craziest story was North Louisiana. We head to the house. Well, I go around to the back because behind the house is absolutely nothing but cane fields. So if this guy runs in that cane field, gets by me, he's gone. So I come walking around the side of the house. Grandma or mom raised up a double-barrel shotgun, goes, "Where'd you come from?" And I pretty much froze at that point. I was very glad to make it home that night. And we got him and brought him back with us.
For nearly 3 decades, Alan Hudson has earned a living following fugitives who flee. He's among the nation's estimated 15,000 fugitive recovery agents, also known as bounty hunters, who are tasked with locating individuals who have skipped out on their day in court. His wife, Michelle, is also in the industry, a second-generation fugitive recovery agent.
Yes, there are a lot of bounty hunters or alleged bounty hunters that have made the mistakes that has caused the industry a bad name.
The bad name she's referring to is a stigma caused by rogue roundups, from wrong house raids to shots fired. From Texas to New York, news reports around the country detail dangerous situations where those roundups went wrong. In Louisiana, police arrested 3 bounty hunters, charging them with felonies after they allegedly kicked in the door of an LSU graduate student. She locked herself in the bathroom of her apartment, and prosecutors say they kicked that door in too, before realizing they were at the wrong apartment. And when weapons are involved, the tension only grows. In New York, a conviction. An unlicensed bounty hunter sentenced to 2 months in prison when he went into the wrong complex armed with a long gun.
They think they can come in like the old Wild Wild West and just come in, grab somebody, and bust down a door and go, "Oh, I'm sorry, it was the wrong door."
Our national investigative team found many of these problems may be attributable to spotty and inconsistent regulations across the nation when it comes to bounty hunting. Illinois, Kentucky, Massachusetts, Oregon, and Wisconsin have completely or effectively outlawed the practice of commercial bail bonds and fugitive recovery. Where it is allowed, the practice isn't always regulated. We found more than a quarter of states, shown here in red, have no rules on the books specific to bounty hunting. Many agents are allowed to wear tactical gear, carry IDs that look like badges, and keep guns strapped to their side, making them often look like the police, but without the same training and guardrails.
We try to maintain professional standards throughout the industry.
Chuck Jordan is the president of NAFRA, the National Association of Fugitive Recovery Agents. For years, he's been trying to get more uniform standards on the books.
We have advocated to try to have some consistency in the regulations throughout the U.S.
In recent years, his organization approached members of Congress to make changes, but his push fell on deaf ears, and no one was interested in making changes to the $2 billion industry.
But as far as getting all the different states on board, it's quite difficult to get everybody on the same page.
Although the number of violent encounters are slim compared to the amount of fugitives who are arrested without incident, Jordan says the failure to address problems allows those who get in trouble in some states to go elsewhere and continue working. State regulators could check with his organization before licenses are issued, but he says they don't.
And we would certainly be open to that.
It's estimated that bounty hunters apprehend 30,000 fugitives each year, and we'll dive deeper into this Sunday morning at 11:30 on You Can Quote Me.
All right, coming up in sports, we hear from the head coach of the Pats and check in on some local college hockey teams. That's next.
Toyotathon is on. Discover holiday magic with a new...
Now, WCAX Channel 3 Sports, sponsored by Xfinity Mobile.
Well, the wins keep on coming for the New England Patriots. The Pats cruising by their regional nemesis in the New York Giants on Monday night in Foxborough. That was a 10th straight win, placing New England alone atop the AFC at 11-2. The Pats will now head into their bye week with a 2.5-game lead on Buffalo, who they will see on the other end of that bye. But as head coach Mike Vrabel says, there is still a lot of work to be done.
Well, we're not done. We're not satisfied. I think champions are never satisfied. I think you can appreciate where you are, but at the same time, never be satisfied or complacent. And the fine line between rest and recovery and, just being sedentary.
Well, UVA men's hoops team is out west this week, getting ready to play a pair of games at Oregon State on Wednesday and at Pepperdine Saturday before a 3-game homestand and the holiday break. Now, Vermont has been a little up and down so far this year. They've dropped 4 of their last 5, but all of those came against high-level mid-major opposition. One on-court aspect in particular has been a bugaboo for Vermont in the early part of the season, but head coach John Becker believes that his team's got the pieces to fix it.
The defense was okay, but didn't come up with enough rebounds late in the game and loose balls, and that's something we consistently not doing well enough this year is coming up with 50-50 balls. A lot of them we have in our hands, they get knocked out of our hands, and we fumble out of bounds and so forth and so on. So, again, stuff that younger players, inexperienced players do. And so all of these games against really good teams, hopefully it's going to speed up their growth process, the speed up their learning curve, and we'll be better for it, at the right time of year.
Well, Tuesday was supposed to be a decently busy night for college sports in our region. The weather took care of that, though. Just one game on the calendar. Dartmouth women's hoops hosting Merrimack. Big Green 3-1 to start the year. Big Green currently up 28-26 at the break. We will have highlights for you at 11 o'clock. On the topic of Dartmouth, their men's hockey team moving into the top 10 this week in the USCHO poll. The Big Green following up their beatdown of UVM Friday with a nail-biting win over Merrimack on Saturday. At 8-0-0, Dartmouth is the only remaining unbeaten in the entire country. The now 10th ranked Big Green are going to host conference rivals Brown and Yale this weekend. 2 of our D3 women's squads from our area are ranked this week. Both of them dropping, though. Mid down a spot to number 4. Plattsburgh falling to 9th after the Panther Cardinal Classic. Mid losing to Endicott before beating the Cardinals. Platte went 0-2 in that tournament. Norwich first team in the others receiving votes category. We've got Habs, Bruins, and Celtics all playing tonight. We'll have highlights at 11.
All right, Jack, thank you.
So it sounds like the snow is going to be tapering off here in the next couple of hours?
Yeah, that's the trend for most of us. We're really on the tail end of this system. I mean, it's really out of here by midnight tonight. The biggest concern is just what's left on the roads and any areas that are still seeing the snow at this point. Tomorrow's our quiet day, though. We have more clouds than sun at times through the day, but it's dry. Temperatures in the upper 20s, low 30s. But then Thursday is the next day I wanted you to turn your attention to, because that's when we could see some snow squalls coming through during that morning commute time. So those aren't an all-day snow event. It's a quick burst of snow that drops the visibility, and that ushers in a really cold blast of air. Note how we have 31 on there for Thursday, but that's early in the day. By Thursday evening, we're talking about sub-zero wind chills. So very cold.
Yeah, so if you have outdoor shoveling to do to clear out from this one,
do it now.
Do it now.
Yes.
Do it before Friday or Thursday, Friday.
Yes, exactly. The weekend isn't quite as bad temperature-wise. It's more typical for December, but then early next week, that cold blast comes back. So definitely in December now.
All right, Jess, thank you. Thanks for watching, everybody.
Good night.
See you soon.